you know, the 20s, we're still trying to figure it out. Hi beauties, it's your girl Syndie. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. So today is my birthday. And so I decided to do a get ready with me, sharing this complete look, makeup, look, fragrance, outfit, everything, and hair, of course. And so in this video, I'm also going to be talking about things that I've done in my 20s to level up and just what I'm looking forward to in my 30s. So if you guys want to see more, definitely stay tuned. Okay, so I just came out the shower and I want to do my hair now because I like when it's nice and wet and like the curls are just very nice and defined. So I'm going to do my hair now because I want to start off with that first, because number one, I'm gonna do a bun and I want it out of my face, and number two, it's like flatter when it's wet, so I want to get the bun to look as nice as possible, because I find that the hair gets dry much quicker than straight hair, and so I just want to make sure that it's nice and hydrated. So the mousse that I like to use is this Lotta Body coconut and shea oil mousse here, and then I like to use this Organics, I think is the brand name, but it's this coconut milk oil right here. So that's what I'm going to use, starting off with a little bit of mousse first. And I'm gonna do, I was debating whether or not if I should leave a couple hairs out when I do the bun. I guess we'll see when I start working on it. So this is my first time filming in this angle, so I hope it looks okay. Hope you guys are able to see what's going on. So I figured while I start doing my hair and makeup, this would be a good time to, I guess, kind of like discuss some of the things that I've learned and like some of the things that I've done in my 20s to level up. Now, I feel like leveling up is always gonna be something that you have to do. I don't think there's ever a point where you stop doing it. But I do feel like there are a lot of things that I started doing in my 20s to level up and to make sure that I'm like following through with my goals. And this first one, like, it may not seem like anything big, but to me, I think it's something big because one, it really kind of set the tone for a lot of things that I was able to accomplish. And so for me, the first thing is definitely getting a degree, but not just like any type of degree, getting a STEM degree. And I have a degree in pure math with a minor study in statistics because I wanted to be a professor, but I started doing my master's and I realized it wasn't for me anymore. But I feel like having such a technical degree and a degree in STEM really does open a lot of doors for job opportunities, career-wise. And I think it's really helped me gain some financial goals that I had set for myself, because had I maybe had a different degree, maybe it would have taken me longer or what, because I feel like the reason why, or I guess one of the reasons why I was able to get a job so quickly after undergrad is because of my degree, you know? It's one of those degrees that I feel like most employers see that and they're like, okay, if you can do this, you can do pretty much anything. I mean, apart from being like a doctor or lawyer. So that's something that I did in my 20s to really kind of like level up. And I spent about 5 years in my 20s. So because I graduated college in 2018, so when I was 25. So that's one thing that I feel like has really helped me level up financially, is getting a good technical degree and something in the STEM field that can be applicable to a lot of different jobs. Because if I did want to, I can go get a master's and PhD and become a doctor. I mean, not a doctor, I would be a doctor, but I'd be like a professor, you know? And I'm sure there's tons of things. Like if I wanted to switch paths a little bit and become a data scientist, all I really would need to do is learn some technical skills like Python and maybe Tableau and things like that. But I'm learning those things right now, and it's not as hard because I have that like background. So that's one thing I will say that I feel like has really helped me. So I'm gonna grab this hair tie here. I don't know where my smaller ones are, so I'm just gonna use this one. And I'm gonna leave like this out for now just so I can see how I want to place it. So like my main thing is getting it to look flat, because like I feel like certain times wigs can look very bulky. So I'm really just trying to get it to lay nice and flat, like so. What do we think? I feel like I typically like to do my hair last sometimes, because I feel like my makeup kind of makes or break certain hairstyles. But since we already have it, I'm just gonna kind of like secure it in place, because it's wet and wavy hair. If I don't like it, worst case scenario, we just spray some water on there and redo it over again. Like that's the beauty of having wet and wavy hair. I feel like it is a little bit easier to do. And then I don't know what is going on. If you guys know how to help me fix this, let me know. But like I get this like bubbling around here. Don't know why that is, but we're gonna leave it alone for now. So next we're gonna move on to makeup. I already washed and moisturized my face. It is looking a little bit like there's that sheen on there, but I think that's fine because I am gonna be using primer. So the primer that I'm gonna use is my Milk Hydro Grip Primer. It's literally the best one. Get ready with me's. I'm still figuring out my rhythm when it comes to these, so we'll see how this turns out. All right, so while I do that, I did want to also talk about some other things that I've done in my 20s to help like level up. And there are some physical things that I've done, and there's also some mental things that I've done. So the first thing for me was going to therapy. Now, I started going to therapy when I was 23, but I really didn't even stay. I probably went for 3 months and then I stopped going. And that's because I didn't realize how much of a journey it is to find the perfect therapist, and like the journey of therapy itself. Because I had gone to a therapist, I really didn't like it. I really didn't feel like she kind of connected with me. And it wasn't until my second time that I tried going to therapy again, which was like 2 years ago, that I realized, okay, this is not just you pick somebody and it's gonna be fine. Like you really kind of have to try a few different therapists out to see if you're vibing with them. And then I think throughout the process, you start figuring out what kind of therapist you want. And I think for me, like definitely I realized I needed a Black therapist. Like my first therapist was a white woman. And at the time in college, I kind of was dealing with a lot of like microaggressions, I guess you can call them. I don't know if that's the technical word, but I was just dealing with a lot of things that a person of color would deal with that went to a PWI, because I did go to a predominantly white college. I was the only Black person in all of my classes. There probably was one other student who was Black, but if you looked at him, you would not think Black. You might have thought Italian or maybe European, but you would not have thought he was Black. And so dealing with that, because I do feel like where I went to school was not the most welcoming for Black individuals. And so I was dealing with a lot of that, and I tried, working with a therapist, and it got to the point where I kept getting annoyed. I would go to sessions and she'd be like, well, I don't understand, like help me understand. And I'm like, you're never gonna understand where I'm coming from. And so I got frustrated. I stopped going to her, and then I stopped going to therapy pretty much for like a couple years because it just didn't work out. And then I tried again, and I realized because I had another woman, I think she probably was Black, but I don't know, I just didn't connect with her either. And it wasn't until I got a Black male therapist that I felt like I connected with, and I felt like there was a lot more breakthroughs that I experienced with him than any other therapist. And so I stuck with that. But I will say sometimes it can be hard, and I don't think at least I don't know anybody who really talks about how hard it is to go to therapy, because I'm someone who struggles to be vulnerable. And so going to therapy, you literally have to be vulnerable and talk to the therapist and let them know what's going on. I struggled with that so much. There are times where like I dreaded going to therapy because I was like, oh, I have to be vulnerable and I don't want to be vulnerable. But I do feel like a lot has actually come out in therapy that I didn't even realize like I was holding on to or suppressing or what. And it was like, wow, this is why I am the way I am. This is why I view things a certain way. And it's actually one of the reasons why I am not as vulnerable and I hold a lot of things inside was because of past things that happened, but I didn't know that until I went to therapy. So I definitely recommend going to therapy. I'm glad that like it's more open and acceptable now for people to go to therapy, because I do think we deal with a lot and we all handle it differently, and it's going to manifest differently, and sometimes it could be pretty bad if we don't deal with it. So I highly recommend that. Another way for me, because I was raised by my father and my mom passed, I have had different like mother figures in the past, but there are a lot of things that I feel like I just did not know as a woman, and like just in being feminine. And so I did spend a lot of time watching certain creators on YouTube, on different platforms, podcasts, etc., reading books, and also just changing my circle. Because I think the circle I had in college was not as like feminine. They weren't, we didn't really talk about certain things. And I realized like I needed to change my circle, because where I wanted to go in my life, those people, we didn't have the same visions and views. And so definitely aligning myself with people who are either on that path, have been there before, who've either have gone through those, or who are wanting to be on the same path, if that makes sense. So like those are other things that I've had to do in my 20s, and also just being mindful of the content that I consume too, because I do think that certain content you consume can really affect your views, your values, and like things that you're going through, or like what you want to do. So those are other things that I've just had to be very mindful of, and I'm still working on right now. And like I said, I don't think it's ever one of those things like you're stopped and you're done completely. I think we're always going to be looking for ways to continue to level up in our lives. So those are two important things that I feel like have helped me. Okay, I always struggle to do my brows on camera, so I'm gonna just like do them off camera for a little bit. But one thing that I am doing, I'm adding a little concealer on my eyelids, because I don't really plan on wearing any heavy eyeshadow today. All right, so I'm gonna apply my foundation. So today I'm going to use the Dior Backstage. No, this is the Dior Forever. This is one of my favorite foundations at the moment. And I'm in the shade 4.5. And the shade that I was just putting on right now is actually their concealer. It's their Fix Forever Skin Corrector in 4.5N as well. I think I might need to get a lighter shade in this, to be honest, because I feel like it's not doing it for me. All right, next thing I wanted to talk about is how I've leveled up physically, because there has been some changes. I don't know if I should put it on here. Maybe I'll just put it on here. Not a lot, because I don't really have much that I wanted to change, but there were just a few things that I did. The first one was probably the biggest one, and that was to get braces to get my teeth fixed, because I had a pretty big gap. I had a lot of spacing. I have a missing tooth at the bottom, and I also my midline is not straight. It's still not straight, but that was such a huge thing for me, because I wanted to get braces for a really long time and just wasn't able to do it for like a number of reasons. But I decided, I was like, okay, if insurance is not gonna get it, well, I'm gonna have to find a way to get it myself, because it was probably my biggest insecurity. I have never smiled. Never. If I look back at my old pictures, I am like this. I'm not smiling at all because I hated the way my smile looked and I just didn't feel very confident. And so I decided, I was like, all right, I'm gonna save some money and I'm gonna get my teeth done. And so I thought about doing like Invisalign and other things, but Invisalign was just more, it was more expensive than braces. And just kind of like doing my research, I've come to realize that braces were probably my best bet in fixing the things I wanted to get fixed. So I got braces. I had braces for about 2.5 years. I did kind of get them off prematurely because I was really annoyed with having them on for so long because it got annoying, you know? And if you have braces, you'll know the process. But ultimately, I am much happier with my smile. I smile all the time now and I'm way more confident. So that was something that was a huge investment for me and I would not trade it. I highly recommend if you guys want to get your teeth done, do it because it's one of the first things that people look at when you smile. Like people are going to look at your smile. And so I always say like, go get it done. Now, like I said, it's not 100% perfect because I'm missing a tooth and it just couldn't line up the way it was supposed to. And then I did kind of like have her take it off like a few months early because I was going to Paris and I just didn't want braces in my pictures. And so I got the top ones taken off and then eventually the bottom ones were taken off as well. I do think though, if you're gonna do it, you gotta wear your retainer. And I say this because I'm saying it to myself. I need to wear my retainer. I'm gonna start wearing it again because my teeth have shifted so much since I've gotten them done initially. I don't really have many others because like I said, I kind of like the way that I look for the most part. I don't like have anything major that I would wanna change. But I did also start taking my maintenance more seriously. So I would go ahead and get my nails done, get my hair done. Although I was in college, you can still make it work. And you can definitely make it work on any type of budget, any type of financial situation you have going on. Because what I would do sometimes is I would get it done, but then the next time I would do it at home, or I would only do my pedicures in the summertime when my toes were out, but then I would do my pedicures at home in the wintertime because nobody's gonna see my feet, you know? So just little things like that, like I would do while I was in my 20s and in college because, you know, I still wanted to look and feel good, but I wasn't gonna let that kind of break the bank because at the same time, you wanna do it in a way where you're not gonna stress yourself out financially. And also like wearing makeup a little bit more. I started trying to, you know, figure out how to do makeup and make myself look good and just things like that. Like I still don't feel like I'm a makeup guru, but I feel like I know how to kind of pull myself together. And so those were things that I would do is like make sure that I had nice makeup, make it that looked good. And also fragrances. I also really started paying attention to getting fragrances. I had like 2 signature scents in my like early to mid 20s. It was the Bulgari Omnia Crystalline, the Euphoria by Calvin Klein. So the other thing that I started doing was really paying attention to my health physically. And that was going to get a personal trainer. So I got a personal trainer and I started working out with one because I've always been, actually thinking about it, I've always been an athlete. So in junior high, high school, I was actually a cross country and track person. And I think I just always got used to having a coach to motivate, yeah, it does motivate me, let's be honest. Having a coach to motivate you, give you the workouts and the plans, and it just always made me feel more consistent. And I also feel like if I don't show up, I'm letting somebody else down, and I don't want to do that. So I did get a personal trainer. Really love working out with him. If it wasn't for me moving, I would still work out with him. I know he does do virtual, which I have done a couple times, but I don't know if like I'll end up sticking to it because sometimes I like having someone there. Now I feel like there's so many more things you can do. Like there's more options available. Like for instance, ClassPass. I love ClassPass because I'm able to try out a lot of different workout classes and still kind of get that feeling of having a trainer. But it's a 1-hour class, 50-minute class, and I like being in a group setting. I think it's very motivating. So I do think there's way more options available now than there was when I was like kind of like looking into it. But I think working out and just paying attention to your health is so important because we only have one body, so we need to take care of it. And along with just the physical aspects, the physical benefits of working out, the mental benefits of working out are so amazing. Like, I don't know if it's what's the dopamine? It's not dopamine. There's some chemical reaction you get after you work out, and it just feels so good. Like when I work out and I'm so excited. When I work out at 5 a.m., I come back, I take my shower, I do my morning routine, and I'm just so motivated throughout the entire day. I mean, sometimes I crash, but for the most part, I'm pretty motivated. I highly think that's important. Something that I think you can start incorporating at any time in your life. It doesn't have to be in your 20s. And to be honest, like a lot of the things that I'm mentioning that I did in my 20s are things that I'm gonna continue doing. I'm not gonna stop them. I'm not going to stop doing them. And I don't think that, just because you have passed a certain age in your life, you should stop doing it. I think you should always be looking for ways to level up, always be looking for ways to work on yourself. And so I highly think it's a good thing. Another thing that I've done in my 20s to really help me level up was finances. So I did do a video a while back talking about how I saved $30,000. I also paid off $11,000 of debt, consumer debt, in 8 months. And I talked about a lot of the kind of systems that I created in my 20s to help me save. And so that's another thing that I did that I feel like is so important because honestly, I think finances can add a lot of stress when they're not in order, and nobody wants added stress. Like, we have so much going on already. We don't need any more stress. Other things that I've done to level up is I started changing the way I dressed. So I feel like I've always had a pretty decent sense of style, but I think we all kind of go through that phase where, at least for me, I went through that phase where a lot of the things in my wardrobe were more like partying clothes or like clubbing clothes, and a lot of tight and ill-fitting things that were a little uncomfortable. Just because I guess in that time I was going out clubbing and partying all the time, and so that's what I mostly had. But I feel like after I finished, or actually it was right before I finished college, but definitely after, I started changing my wardrobe, and I was buying things that fit my lifestyle, which is work. I had to wear clothes to work. So I need to be business casual and be presentable that way. So I started buying less kind of like clubbing attire and more just like business casual clothes. I also really started, I think, developing my own personal style. And I think that's when I really realized that I really like classic pieces. I like neutrals, and I like more of a, I guess you can say like a Parisian style. That's really more my type of style. And I really didn't know that until I started I was done with college and I was like entering into the real world. So I definitely do think that my style is much better, although I do feel like I'm still working on it in a way, because I think lifestyle changes always affect your style and also where you live. Because I lived up north before, and so my style, I had more coats, more boots, more accessories, and I really love fall and winter fashion because of like the layering that you can do and just all the different things and accessories you can wear. But now that I live in Texas, I feel like a lot of my style, I'm still trying to figure it out. And on top of that, I work from home. So I have so many two pieces now because I'm home. Like, I want to be comfortable. So I'm still trying to figure out, like, okay, what is my new style with my new environment? And I think that's always going to happen. Like, we go to so many like changes in life. We're going to change our style. We're going to change our perspective, you know? All right. But I think those are all the things that I've done to level up in my 20s. But the next thing I wanted to talk about was what I'm looking forward to in my 30s. I don't have much. I really haven't like thought about this enough, I feel like, but I have thought about it a little bit. And one thing that I hear people saying is like, your 30s are your best years. You know, this is a time where financially you have more money, so you can kind of do the things you wanted to do in your 20s that you couldn't do because, you know, the 20s we're still trying to figure it out. You know, I am looking forward to that I'm working on, which a lot of people have said is that, you know, in your 30s you're a little bit more, you know yourself a little bit more, you're a little bit more self-aware, you can set better boundaries, you know, you don't really care what people think, you know, and that's something that I'm looking forward to that. And not to say that like an age defines these things, because some people might learn them before, like earlier on, some people learn them even after 30, but it's just like the majority of like things that I hear from people in their 30s, and I'm looking forward to that, you know. So I think 30 is going to be good. I think I was nervous before because like as women, our biological clocks are something that we have to deal with. It's the reality. And I think before I stressed about it a lot. But now I feel like you have to just continue to work on yourself, and you have to put yourself in a position in places that can get you the things you want. And so I'm just like, you know, I can't control what happens, but I can control what I do and how I respond. And so I'm going to work on that. I'm really, really excited about this. This is the Rising Star Cheek Palette. This is gorgeous. Can you guys see that? My beautiful friend Mena gave this to me for my birthday the other day, and I'm excited to try it out. Look at these colors. Guilty Pleasure. I'm gonna use Guilty Pleasure, or should I use Limelight? I'm gonna mix them. I need to go pop my my second bottle of champagne for today. All right, so for this the lip color that I want to use is this beautiful red lip. It's called Boss Lady by the Lip Bar. Gorgeous, gorgeous red. All right, so that's pretty much it for hair and makeup. What do you guys think? Do you love? I'm loving it. Okay, so I'm going to go get dressed, and then I'll come back so you guys can see the outfit. I hope you guys enjoy this chat with me, get ready with me, chat how I leveled up in my 20s, what I'm looking forward to in my 30s. Hope you guys enjoy this. Let's go change, get the outfit and fragrance, and we'll be back. Okay guys, so this is the outfit. I'm wearing this dress. This is from Revolve. This is from Lovers and Friends. I featured this in a haul already, but I haven't worn it out yet, and I really love the way it looks. I love how it fits and feels, and so I decided to wear that. And I'm pairing it with this bag from Coach. This is an older bag, but it's one of my favorites. It's actually a belt bag, but I wear it like a clutch. It has a chain, but I'm gonna do the clutch look today. For shoes, I have my Ariza's, these are the Christian Louboutins. I did put on the Sol de Janeiro, sorry guys, it's trying to do this. I did put on the Sol de Janeiro Beija Flora body cream, and so I'm going to layer that with my Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This is Gentle Fluid, no, this is actually Purell Feminine. I'm going to wear that. I did also put some body oil on just for some shimmer. So that's the look. This is the birthday look. Let me guys know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see beauties in my next video. But of course, gotta smell good. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.